Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio, so today I'm going to be showing you a very exciting new Ribombee card. And one of the most exciting things about Ribombee, of course, is that it evolves from one of the best named Pokemon in Sun and Moon, Cutiefly. Now, Ribombee is a fairy type, but this is largely irrelevant, to be perfectly honest, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody's playing steel Pokemon to hit you for weakness, and we'll have a look at the attack in a minute, but long story short, nobody's going to be attacking with Ribombee unless they are absolutely desperate. I mean, at some point you will be desperate enough to do so and win a game or two, but we're talking rare, ladies and gentlemen. 70 HP is very low, but it does mean you have access to Level Ball to use to search Ribombee out. And being a fairy Pokemon is kind of cool right now. You've got Fairy Garden to help you retreat. You've got Comfey to protect you against special conditions as long as you have a fairy energy attached. And you've got Fairy Drop, which again would be a lot more important if it wasn't for the pitifully low HP. Similarly, the retreat cost of 1 would be a lot more important if it wasn't for the fact that you can use Fairy Garden. And resistance to Dark is very nice because of things like Darkrai and Yveltal, but then again, you've got very low HP. I think I've made that quite clear. Now, the ability here is really, really nice. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for 2 basic energy cards and put them into your hand. That's it. It is Professor's Letter, but has an every turn ability. Or, in fact, it's this Oricorio, but none of that once rubbish. Once per turn is much, much better. This means that every single turn you can search for 2 fairy energy, or indeed any energy you like, since the current translation we have, and if you look at the card it seems to hold out, any energy you like, not just fairy. This is brilliant. I like this very much. You're always going to have that energy that you need. Now, there is an obvious combo here with Gardevoir GX. Gardevoir GX has a really nice ability that once per turn you can attach an extra energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. That is very, very nice. And now, of course, you search your deck, and it is your deck, for 2 fairy energy, put them into your hand using Ribombee. You then attach 1 as your energy attachment for the turn, and you attach 1 as your extra energy attachment from Gardevoir GX's ability. And clearly these go hand in hand. Search with Ribombee, attach with Gardevoir. And of course this combos very nicely with Gardevoir's attack, because 30 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So the more you search with Ribombee and the more you attach with Gardevoir, the more damage that you end up doing. Yay! And it actually works quite nicely with the GX attack on Gardevoir, which allows you for 1 fairy energy to search your discard pile for 10 cards and then shuffle them back into your deck. This is really good because it means that in the mid to late game, you recover your energy using Gardevoir GX so that you can then search it out using Ribombee and attach it using Gardevoir GX. Of course, another card to bear in mind here would just be Energy Recycler, which was reprinted in Sun and Moon Guardians Rising, our most recent set, because it means that you can just grab 5 energy from your discard pile, shuffle them back into your deck, and then you've got them there to search with Ribombee and attach with Gardevoir. But really, it's not just Gardevoir here. This will work with any card or any deck that uses a fair amount of energy. So take, for instance, Magnezone. Magnezone's got, as I like to refer to it, the Blastoise ability that allows you to attach as many energy as you like during your turn. So again, you can search for 2 lightning energy using Ribombee, and then you can immediately attach both of them using Magnezone. Now, to be fair, this is potentially a little bit clunky. Having to have a stage 2 and having to have a stage 1, and with Magnezone, of course, you'll need an attacker like Raikou as well, so then you've actually got to have your attacker plus your stage 2 plus your stage 1. There is a potential here for a little bit of clunk, but hey-ho. You could play it in Volcanion, because of course you've got Volcanion EX that allowed you to discard energy cards from your hand to do an extra 30 damage from your attacks from basic fire Pokemon. Then you've got the non-EX Volcanion, or Baby Volcanion, hey Nick, as it's often known, which attaches those energy from the discard to your bench Pokemon. So you search them with Ribombee, discard them with Volcanion EX, attach them with Volcanion. How about one more example here? Darkrai GX. Now, I've done a video about him, just like Gardevoir, link in the description. And essentially here, what you can do is search for the dark energy, and let's say you've got something like an Ultra Ball or a Professor Sycamore in hand. You search for the energy, and then discard it, and Darkrai GX's ability essentially allows you to drag Darkrai GX out of the discard pile and put it on your bench with an energy attached to it. But you need to get the energy into your discard pile. So this allows you to search for your energy so that you can discard it with Ultra Ball or Professor Sycamore, so that you can recover it with Darkrai GX. Again, there's an argument here, it's a little bit clunky, but there's an idea and it's a good one. Obviously, it's useless in decks that are not playing basic energy. Take something like a Raichu deck, or more commonly played a Gyarados deck. Those are decks that rely entirely on double colourless energy. They're not playing any basic. So Ribombee here is going to be entirely useless, but you know what? Don't play it. You could, and I think this might be a little bit of overkill here, but you could even use a Wally to get your Ribombee up straight away and then search for the energy. You could potentially, on turn 1 of the game, play a Wally to get the Ribombee, then search for 2 energy with the Ribombee, then Ultra Ball them away if you're playing something like a Volcanion deck, so that you've got 2 in the discard to attach with Power Heater straight away. Again, maybe this is going to be a little bit clunky, but you cannot say there isn't potential. Honestly here, I love this with Gardevoir GX. I think with things like Volcanion or Darkrai, there might be better options. But there is a hidden benefit here which is really good, and that's that it will thin your deck. And the theory here is incredibly simple. The fewer cards you have in your deck, the more likely you are to draw the cards you want. So if you really want to draw that Stage 2 Gardevoir, then if you've got 20 cards in your deck, you've got a 1 in 20 chance, assuming there's 1 left. But if you then take 2 energy, you've now got 18 cards in your deck, so you've gone from a 1 in 20 to a 1 in 18 chance. This is a really good thing that Ribombee will do for you. Drawing your energy out of your deck early means that you are more likely to draw into those supporters and Pokemon that you need. Now, using stage 1s for an ability can be a little bit awkward. If this was an ability on a basic, it would see a huge amount of play in basically every deck. It would be, to use the parlance of the kids nowadays, broken. But that's not the way it works. It is a stage 1. But then again, look at Machoke. And Machoke's a really good example here. Machoke is a card that blocks damage counters and damage from attacks and abilities to your bench Pokemon. Now, Gyarados relies on having damaged Magikarp on your bench, which means that if somebody brings out something like a Tapu Koko or a Decidueye, you are basically going to lose the game right there and then. So Gyarados decks have started playing a stage 1 Machoke to stop this happening. And Vespiquen decks, and I was doing this myself at the weekend, because of your 40 HP Combeys, have started playing a 1-1 Machoke line to stop this happening. In the past, we saw Night March decks playing Milotic so that they could recover some of the energy that they previously lost. We've got plenty of precedents here for using stage 1s just for their abilities as techs in decks, and I think that, you know what, this Ribombee could be the next one, and for that reason, I'm going to give Ribombee between 3 and 4 Wassies. It's not an amazing card, it's going to be a bit too clunky for some decks, but in any deck that can afford to play it, it's going to be phenomenal. And as a bit of a closing thought here, does anyone else think that Pokemon really want us to play Gardevoir GX? Because it looks really, really playable. And then a couple of days ago I told you about Diancie, that, of course, really helps you to evolve up your Stage 2 Pokemon as long as you're playing Fairy Energy, which you will with Gardevoir. And now we've got Ribombee, which really helps you to search out your basic energy, which combos beautifully with Gardevoir's ability. I was already wanting to play Gardevoir before we got a good look at Diancie and Ribombee, but as it stands at the moment, I am really starting to think that Gardevoir GX is going to be one of the very first decks I test from the upcoming Burning Shadows expansion. Now, you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen, there is a comment section. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy. The most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.